Hello, and welcome back to the UAS Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Piekarski, and today we are joined by David Cameron, Field Services Engineer and Lead UAS Pilot at MatrixSpace. Welcome to the podcast, David. We're happy to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
Of course. So let's start things off by having you tell us about yourself and what you do over at MatrixSpace.
My name is David Cameron. I'm a field service engineer with MatrixSpace. I come from 33 years in law enforcement. During my career, along with other duties, I developed my department's UAS program and one of the few drone first responder programs in the nation with a beyond visual line of sight waiver. I started with MatrixSpace in 2023, and today I work with customers, both in the public and private sector, to solve their security issues. What we do at MatrixSpace, we've been doing some very innovative things with our radar. We have developed the world's smallest low-powered radar available that is both software-defined and with onboard processing. We're helping redefine air and perimeter security for all sorts of uses, such as DFR. For example, in addition to being able to track air targets, our ability to track ground target objects allows MatrixSpace to provide a formidable perimeter security for correctional facilities, airports, critical infrastructure, utility sites, and other large-scale events like concerts or sporting events.
Okay, and this DFR program has been described as versatile for security and monitoring in some of the venues that you've just listed. Can you elaborate on the specific features that make it so adaptable to different environments and situations?
Yeah, so, background of DFR, stands for Drone First Responder, only came about in about 2018. And there are only about 40 DFR programs nationwide right now. And DFR aims to augment and enhance safety for both the public and first responders by remotely deploying and controlling drones equipped with various sensors and cameras with the goal of arriving before a ground unit to provide critical pre-arrival information that may not be readily available to the responding units. Drones can also be used as a force multiplier by responding to certain non-emergency calls, which frees up officers on the ground to do other proactive enforcement or respond to other emergency calls where a drone just wouldn't be suitable. In a time right now, most police departments are short on personnel. They find it difficult to recruit new people. This technology, as well as others, is being employed to augment first responders' personnel. And in that, we respond to all these other emergency and non-emergency incidents like taking care of large-scale events or sporting events, and it's just public safety.
So how can these programs enhance airspace management in emergency situations, and what specific incidents can it effectively respond to?
So DFR programs deploy tools that handle the airspace monitoring. Current programs require a human to act as a visual observer to monitor airspace. The new and upcoming form of DFR program deploy a ground-based sensor system, such as MatrixSpace radar, to monitor the airspace for general aviation aircraft and alert the remote operator of their presence, which allows the remote pilot to take mitigating steps to avoid potential collisions, which create a much safer airspace. DFR enables first responders to effectively and safely respond to emergency and non-emergency calls like crimes in progress, like home or commercial burglaries, assaults, persons with weapons, non-crime related calls like traffic collisions or home or commercial fires, hazardous materials situations, missing or lost persons, just to name a few.
Very interesting. Okay. And how do the small mobile modules of MatrixSpace radar function as a ground-based beyond visual line of sight system?
Well, MatrixSpace radar is suited to DFR needs and DFR operations, providing this light, small, low power, low cost solution to safely monitor airspace for these general aviation aircraft incursions. And that allows drone pilots to assess and deconflict potential collisions with crewed aircraft.
And can that enhance both air and ground monitoring?
It depends on the application. If you're talking specifically DFR, the monitoring that we're looking for is airspace safety. We're trying to deconflict a drone and a general aviation aircraft. The other use cases, like monitoring a correctional facility, we could use a dual monitoring system that monitors both air and for ground targets. But in specifics to DFR, it's more about the airspace safety than it is actually monitoring objects on the ground. But it all depends on that use case.
Well, we went through those questions pretty fast. Is there anything else that you would like to add, David?
Well, I think DFRs are a great example of how scalable and safe drone operations are gaining real-world traction as a combination of technical and operational abilities and legislative factors come into play, and they coming together. It's going to be a really exciting year, I think, for the broader acceptance of DFR programs, not just across the U.S., but I think globally. So, I thank you for the opportunity to talk about remote drone operations.
Of course. Again, we are joined today by David Cameron, Field Services Engineer and Lead UAS Pilot at MatrixSpace. Thank you again, David, for joining us on the podcast today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to UAS Magazine for more podcasts like this one and to stay up to date on the latest industry news. We hope that you enjoyed this podcast and we look forward to next time. Until then.